not in size but in nature. This was not a riverine flood. This time the flood came from the sky. And now it's very clear that it was due to climate change. And what climate change did in 2022? Climate change has been doing this for many years, which is to increase the intensity of events, climate events. So rain is more intense, heat is more intense, cold is more intense, but for a shorter period. So patterns are changing. But in 2022, the challenge is that in certain areas, particularly in the middle of the country, so North Sindh, Eastern Balochistan, South Punjab, the rainfall was anywhere from 500 to 700% higher than average. So those areas which usually are water scarce, and their natural development has been to conserve water. So these are areas who want to keep water in if they have some. And suddenly this massive rain falls from the sky. So the same natural structures or barriers that people had put around their agricultural lands to conserve water became a pond of water. And in many areas, we are unable to still drain it out, because draining it out is not a natural process. These are areas which are far away from the river and don't naturally drain into it. So it's, again, it's a tremendous challenge. I was involved in it first in order to ensure that electricity supplies were restored quickly in these flooded areas. And by grace of Almighty, we were able to achieve that. Very rapid restoration of electricity in these areas. But again, I'll just share an anecdote with you and you can draw your own conclusions. That there was this review meeting of flood relief, and the Chief Minister Singh says that in certain areas, although there is electricity, but we need proper electricity, full voltage electricity, in order to run our pumps. So I had to go, I visited that section of Sindh to restore that grid. So the pumps, very large size pumps, dozens of them in like 10 kilometers apart, that were used to actually pump water from underground to provide agriculture. We use them to drain water out. On all kinds of issues or other, there are distributional issues of, from whose land the water will cross. But 2022 was a unique event in Pakistan's history in which usually what happens was river is here, it floods, and then when the water in the river recedes, the same water comes back naturally in and it's drained out. Here we are having to drain it out through electricity, through pumps, which is extremely expensive and requires tremendous resources, not only in terms of finances, but also, of course, technical resources and the availability of electricity. So this is a difficult challenge. And I'm not sure we are prepared for it if it happens again in 2023. So it's a new endeavor that has opened up and a challenge that we have to cross. The larger point is that we have to be prepared for many such events, because a corollary of this, flood in northern Sindh, East Balochistan, South Punjab is that in these areas where there is less rain, there was a massive rain. But what went unremarked, and something for this very distinguished audience to consider, we have not noticed it. that the usual areas of rain did not receive enough rain. So the areas which feed our rivers, particularly Chenab and Jhelum, there was not enough rain this year.
वफाकी वज़ीर तवानाई इंजीनियर खुरम दस्तगीर